streaming. Check, check. Oh yeah, let me see. Share this with some of my black people in the hood. Is it like chest level? Where exactly is it? Can they see us doing this with our phones?
But it's okay. You can look at
Okay.
your phone stuff to get it set up.
August 22nd,
There we go.
live on wax. Switch to all. The black people on there. Switch to Joe. Switch to Ross.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. We're going to get started in a minute. Just want to give folks an opportunity to chime on in or to log on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How y'all doing this evening? We're going to get started in just a moment. Waiting for everybody to come on in. Good evening, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, they got me on my phone looking crazy. All right, we're still waiting for you gentlemen to come on in so we can have this discussion. I see about 300 people right now, so we're going to wait about 2 more minutes. Hey, Pastor. Oh, yeah. Okay, we just shot up to 400. Perfect.
All right, all right. We're going to get started in a minute. About 1 minute, 1 minute. So I'd be scared to play music because I don't want them to mute us. So I'd be scared to put music on. You know, you can't play nothing on Facebook these days without them muting you.
Oh, buddy. You can play some of my songs.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Kinda
That's
loud.
what we can do.
You know what I'm
Shoot, cook it up. Benjamin, we're going to play some original content from Benjamin. He's going to send us some. We'll put the original content.
I got a real deep song. This, we should look. This is perfect. What am I sending this to? This is perfect.
Now, send it to media at vlcm.church.
Okay, there we go. I think
Send it to me. We're going to have some original music on that, boy. Hey, Pastor.
We're gonna play it twice.
We'll have an intermission.
This is really the perfect song because it's dealing with.
Oh, but she don't know how to do it though. We got to do it next time.
All right, I'm gonna send it anyway.
Yeah, send it to me so I can put it so we can be ready. All right, guys, give me about 1 more minute. Oh, we got some people coming. We got about 400 people on the line tonight, bro. They ready for the conversation tonight. We finna get crazy. Oh, it's you. It's cause you. It's cause you here. That's why everybody on tonight. It ain't got nothing to do with. It ain't got nothing to do with me. All right. All right, good evening, fellas. I want to welcome you guys and ladies to another session of conversations with the men of VLCM, or Victory Conversations, as I like to call it. Welcome you all in. I hope you guys are having a prosperous and wonderful, stress-free week. But before we get started, give you a couple of announcements on what's going on at VLCM. And then we'll get started on our topic for tonight. Again, appreciate you guys logging on to hear us ramble on for about an hour. I want to give another shout out to our marriage ministry for all of those that came out last Saturday. all the couples. If I didn't have you added to the group meet, I am so sorry, but I think I got all y'all added now, and I look forward to the next session. September is packed with a lot of stuff, so I don't know if we're going to get together next month, but hopefully we can fit something in. But if you're married and you're looking for a ministry that promotes healthy marriage and help with the success of marriage, VLCM is where you're wanting to be. School of Ministry, we won't have a School of Ministry session for September. We will be having a 2-night revival in September. That will be September 9th and 10th. More details to follow. It's going to be a tent revival, and we're going to do it old school. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's not going to be a tent revival. But they don't want to go in there. The tent is hot. We're just going to turn the AC down real low, and we're going to make it hot where we feel like we outside. We're going to bring out the fans and the washboard. Nah, not funny. Okay, never mind. But yes, September, look forward to that. Look for the announcement. Look for the flyer for the time and the event details for a 2-night revival, September 9th and September 10th. Our Victory Hour of Power will begin the following Thursday after that, which will be the 16th, and we have some great things in store for you. You won't be able to watch it live, so you would have to come on in the building. I promise you what Pastor has and the leaders have prepared for the next session of Victory Hour of Power. You won't want to miss it. We will be going on a corporate fast. In September, we're going to do a 21-day fast. In September, that's going to start September 7th to the 28th, and we're doing the Daniel fast. And so I need y'all to go ahead and get your mind right now. Get your burgers out your system, get your chicken wings out your system, get your donuts, because we gonna consecrate ourselves in September. We have some things that we want God to do for us personally and as a ministry. And the Bible says these things comes by fasting and praying, and we're going to fast corporately so that we can hear from the Lord. And then we will have a joy and worship night, and it will be the special guest comedian will be Not Carlton Banks, and that will be December 10th. More details to follow, but I believe the tickets will be $45. Man, did you see he did a great challenge video? Yeah, you gotta go see it. It's funny. That boy is crazy. He be on it. But yes, Not Carlton Banks, December 10th. I'm telling you, get your tickets. Like I told him Sunday, use that time during the fast to save up your change, because you ain't gonna be going out to eat. And you can get your ticket, $45, I'm telling you. And proceeds from that will also go to help with the anniversary. Huh? They changed it? No, December 10th. December 10th. And that's all the announcements I'm going to do for the night. I think tomorrow night we have the worship team is going to be practicing. I think it's Youth Sunday. So the youth is going. So if you got youth, bring your babies on in. We're going to have the babies get ready to lead us in worship Sunday. So please, please, please bring your babies out tomorrow. All VLCM, bring your children out so they can rehearse and get the songs. And so we can be ready for Youth Sunday. All right. So that's all the announcements. And so we're going to get started. I got my brother here, Brother Benjamin, the stylist. He's not a barber. He's a stylist. Look him up. He on Instagram. He on Twitter. He on Snapchat. He on Facebook. He on YouTube. Look him up. Brother.
Everything but Snapchat and Twitter.
But yeah, that's Benjamin. If you need a stylist, he can hook you up. No matter what kind of hair you got, he do it all. White, black, blue, green. He cuts you up, male, female, whatever you need. Benjamin is your man. All right. So the last couple of sessions that we've had with the brothers, we've talked about accountability, and we talked about being our brother's keeper. And then we also talked about what is our purpose as men. Why are we here? Why are we on this earth, purpose-wise as men? So tonight We were supposed to have a group conversation, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, a couple of our brothers couldn't make it. But me and Ben, we're going to still hold it down. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the good, the bad, and the ugly of manhood. Now, this question, I'm not trying to be deep or anything like that, but I think, personally speaking, sometimes we have to be able to have some complex conversations, some conversations that touch a nerve so that we can be better as men. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about tonight. And then Ben is going to chime in, and then we're going to take some questions. If you drop your questions in the chat, and then we will kind of have a little dialogue in between. So I don't want this to be just us talking. Hopefully, if you have some questions, you can put them in the chat, and we can answer them, and we can kind of go from there, and we'll stay within the time frame. I try to not go past 8 o'clock. So first, the first thing is what is manhood? What is manhood defined as? I'm a definition guy. I like to have an understanding of what we're talking about. And the definition is simple. It says it's the state or period of being a man rather than a child. That's pretty simple, right? It's not deep. It's no, universal explosion from that. You was a boy, now you're a man, right? But it's not always that simple, right? It's not always what it's that easy as we would want it to be. We would like it to be, hey, you progress throughout your childhood, you go through puberty, and then you become a young man, young teenage, young adult, and then you're a man. Boom, and you're able to do the things that, quote unquote, society says a man should be doing. But what happens when it's not always what it seems? What happens when life happens? When dad's not there, granddad's not there, you're raised by your mother, or you're raised by an aunt, and you don't have an example of a man to look to. How do you deal with that? Now, most of the time, we as men, like I like statistics, and most of the time, most men don't seek counsel or therapy or even talk about the issues that we deal with. We just don't. Whatever reason, whatever our issues were, whatever our baggage or our backgrounds are, most of the time we don't, right? Researchers find that throughout life, women or men are 2 times more likely to have a heart attack. Men are. All the statistics that I looked at, everything that I could find, all the researchers show, and they did a comparison based on same diet, same health, same routines, and they show that men are 2 times likelier to have a heart attack, and a lot of that is attributed to stress. Stress is a lot of things. Stress is work, stress is relationship, stress is family, stress is money, stress is fatherhood, stress is being enough, being adequate, health. Stress encompasses a whole bunch of things. And so tonight we want to kind of dive into why we carry so much weight, and how do we get rid of some of that weight? How do we allow ourselves to reduce some of those statistical norms of us being more stressed and us carrying more weight? Why, and how can we be better at seeking help, seeking counsel, and dealing with our emotions? All right. So we have a couple of topics a couple of points that I want to hit on that we kind of talked about we were going to talk about tonight. And so, Brother Ben, I'm gonna start the first. I'm gonna do the first point, which is emotional intelligence, and then I'll get your insight on that. So, the first one is emotional intelligence, and so when we were talking about what we were going to talk about tonight, and I asked the guys, "Hey, man, what do you guys want to talk about this week? Some topics that you and one of the guys put in a group chat. He wanted to talk about emotional intelligence. At first, I laughed because I was like, "Emotional intelligence? I mean, what is what is that?" So I looked it up. Hey, I looked up the definition, and it just says the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. I said, okay, that's probably 95% of men problem. Yeah. and so like when you look at that, dealing with how we feel and being able to deal with our emotions, the good and the bad of our emotions, in an intelligent way. Now, this ain't a conversation that we're gonna have at the barbershop. Like, you ain't gonna be like, I done been at the barbershop. I'm 41. I done been in the barbershop a long, been to a lot of barbershops, and we done had a lot of conversations. I ain't never had a brother be like, man, what y'all think about that emotional intelligence? Never had that, never had a brother say that. But when you think about it, sometimes we have to break down what we deal with as men in an intelligent way so that we can process it, so that we can deal with it, so that we can handle when we struggle with something and not blow up at the wrong time or at the wrong person. In that definition, it says, be aware of or control and express one's emotions. And me personally, I tell, I'm always transparent. I struggle with my temperament all my life since I was a kid. And being able to, like I was the great debater. I've kind of calmed down some. I don't get as heated as I used to. I remember one time, man, I'm just joking, I'm gonna let you talk. So I was on one of my best friends in Florida, Pastor Virgil. He's a Laker fan. He's always been a Laker fan. I'm a LeBron James fan. He was a Kobe fan, and so we always had debates. So when LeBron went to LA, well, I had to be a LA fan, right? So we were talking one day. This was when they were first, when they were trying to get Anthony Davis. Yeah. And so we were talking, and so we were going back and forth, like we were like for like 30 minutes. We were on the phone, and so when we got off the phone, he texted me. He said, "Man, Jalen, his daughter," he was like, "Why were you fighting with that man?" You were just arguing. And so he had to explain, no, we weren't arguing and fighting. We were just talking. That's just how he talked. But, that's when I get excited and I talk about sports, talk about politics, I get excited, and I had to learn how to curb that. But when we deal with frustration and we deal with disappointment, we have to not allow the disappointment to stack up on us so much until our outburst, our response, and that we lash out at innocent bystanders, basically, our children, our spouses, other family members. We have to be able to articulate out, because it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to, it should be okay for us to articulate how we feel. It's okay for us to be upset. It's okay for us to be disappointed. It's okay for us to be angry or sad. Just because we're men, that doesn't mean that we can't. But we have to be able to control and express those emotions in a way that doesn't always cause damage. What you think?
I would like to open up by saying Kobe Bryant is the greatest of all times. I will gladly unfriend anyone who believes otherwise. But no, to address the the topic at hand, emotional intelligence is something that I've struggled with, and periodically I still struggle with. Just to be honest, growing up, um, for a big portion of my life, my father wasn't there. You know, he was available as far as phone calls and talking and sending money. You know, things like that. But for the most part, it was just me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. And with me having a brother who's about, you know, about 10 years older than me, and me getting to know him on a deeper level at the age 6, he was kind of like the only male figure or role model that I had. So at that time, you know, when I have an issue, like an emotional issue, if I go to mom, she go baby me. You know, she's gonna baby me, and that doesn't help me, you know, to deal with my emotions. And then if I go to big brother, he like suck it up. So that's just another thing that's like preventing me from growing and developing that area. So it's like either you wait for mama to get home and you know you let her say it's gonna be okay, and then for the time you ignore the situation, or while brother's there, he's gonna basically there nobody's gonna really address the issue. So you get older and you get faced with difficult situations, and I can be honest and transparent, like even with my wife, you know, there's sometimes like emotionally I'm not there. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that like I'm not attending to her or anything like that. It's just like I don't know how to be there sometimes. I don't understand my emotions sometimes because of that, you know. And yeah, it's very important to me because I'm a father of 3 young ladies, and if I'm not intact with my emotional side, I don't want what I've experienced as a child to fall along with my daughters as well. So yeah, man, that's what I got for that one. It's definitely something that I believe that we should be able to experience. Like you said, you know, growing you never had that conversation in the barbershop. Like the relationship that me and you are building, we can have that conversation. We've built the trust, or we're building the trust. We can have the conversation. We have similar situations as far as marriage and children, but it's not something that we were coached growing into. Is like all the males are going to say man up, and then the women's are going to the women's. All the men will tell you to suck it up, and then the women will baby you, but nobody deals with it. So, like you said, 95%, if not higher, we don't really know how to deal with that part.
And a lot of that has to do with men. It's men in general, but especially for us in our community, we, like you said, we tell a boy to suck it up. You know, if Johnny fall and scrape his knee, we're gonna, boy, suck it up. You all right? You all right? Yeah. But if little Becky fall and scrape her knee, come here, baby. You know, let me. And in reality, both Johnny and Becky needed the same amount of nurturing and reassurance and care. And because we don't deal with the emotional side of what men deal with, we tend to have men going into their adulthood not knowing how to be emotional. And then we wonder why a lot of men, especially in that early age of 18 to 25, when they in relationships, they struggle in relationships. They struggle to maintain relationships. They struggle to be committed in relationships because, you know, they don't really know how to deal with their emotions. And, you know, I mean, I remember I was probably about 11 or 12, and I had my first heartbreak, first crush heartbreak, whatever. You know, I remember my mama was like, boy, you don't know what love is. You all right, suck it up. But I was really hurt. And as a 41-year-old, I remember that. I remember it vividly, you know, and my mom's, you know, it's not a knock on my mom, but that's how boys are dealt with. That's how you're not old enough to deal. You're not old enough to understand, and I think we have to find a balance of nurturing our children and disciplining our children. And I think sometimes, especially our boys, we find more power in disciplining them than nurturing them, because we feel like if we nurture them, that some kind of way will hurt them, or that it's some. But in reality, it's reverse. You know, the not being, like it said in the definition, being able to judiciously and empathetically deal with our emotions, and we don't know how to deal with them. We tell them to play sports, and this is the one thing I always laugh at when I hear, you know, when these athletes, especially football players, and they deal with violence, and or they deal with domestic violence, and they deal with, you know, drugs and alcohol. We praise them for being a monster. We praise them for, you know, being able to almost tear a man's body in half on the sack, you know, and hit. And then we wonder why they struggle in relationships. And we wonder why they struggle with alcohol and drugs, because we've told them they got to be tough, rough to make it. We've told them they have to be vicious, and they can't care about the person on the other side. And we teach that in our men. You have to be tough. You have to be rough. You have to put your feeling. No woman don't want no emotional man, but you have to, at some level, have to deal with emotions to say I love somebody. You have to, on some level, deal with emotions to marry somebody. You know, you have to be able to do that. And so if we glance over that emotional intelligence piece, then we will always be back into the same circles, into the same corners of dealing with the same thing. Like, this is insanity. We keep doing the same thing but expecting a different result. And I wish that, you know, we could, even if you look at now, mental health is like the new hot topic for athletes, you know, because athletes are willing to come out and say, you know, man, I deal with this mental issue. But, you know, I remember when Ron Artest was in his early playing days, and he was crazy. They told him he was crazy. Something was wrong with him. But in all, he was dealing with some stuff up here. And when he was able to deal with it, now everybody respect him, and everybody he's the golden piece for, you know, ushering that in, making athletes feel comfortable with talking about their mental health. And it shouldn't be a stigma. It shouldn't be a stigma to say, you know what, man, I'm hurting. It shouldn't be a stigma to say, brother, you know, last week, I think you text me, and you was like, man, you know, how you doing? How's your week? And I was like, and you was like, you know, if you don't mind me asking, you know, what's going on? And I chuckled. I told my wife, you know, and I thought about it, and I was like, but how many times do men ask that question of each other, and we all just glance by it and say, oh, I'm good. Yeah. Oh, bro, everything fine. Everything okay. How often do we do that when the door is open? And we have to, as men, be willing to have that conversation with another man so that we feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable. And I think there's a stigma to being vulnerable to other men. There's a stigma to tell another man, I'm struggling. You know, like it's some kind of way takes away from who we are. Now that's what we're gonna deal with that topic. That's a topic down at the bottom. We're gonna deal with that one.
I was about to have some, but I was like, I want to save it. I want to
so I'm gonna go to the next one. So I don't want to stay on that one too long. But yes, we have to be able to deal with our emotions, whether they're good or bad. We have to be able to deal with them in a constructive manner so that we're better off as individuals. All right. So our next topic point was being a provider. And being a provider doesn't always necessarily mean monetarily. And, you know, we look at society 40 years ago, there was a clear, concise gender role. The men worked, and the women stayed home, and they took care of their children. That's what it was then. Today, unless somebody making six figures in the household, you can't afford for someone to necessarily stay home unless middle class families, it'll be very difficult for one to not work. And so, but being a provider is not just the money piece, because you have to provide other things. You have to provide comfort. You have to provide security. You have to be able to be a problem solver and a de-escalator. You have to be able to be sweet and know when to be sweet, kind and know when to be kind. You got to know which hat to put that on, because sometimes, man, you grab the wrong hat, you gonna be in trouble. But I remember a couple of years, when my daughter graduated from high school, my dad came and we had a conversation. And in that conversation, my dad, he talked about how he wished that he had have done some things different, but he was doing what he knew how to do, which was work, because that's all he saw his dad do. And he said that, he saw his dad for years. His dad went to work, and when he came home, he wasn't doing nothing, because he went to work. He was going to sit in his lazy boy, he was going to drink a beer, and he was going to watch TV or whatever at that time, or listen to the radio, whatever it was. And that was he wasn't cleaning up, he wasn't cooking, none of those things. And so when he became a husband and a father, I got to provide. And so he worked, and he worked, and he worked. My dad, he worked and went to church. That was it. And he had this blue chair. It's still at the house right now. He had this blue chair. I think they got that chair probably like 1989 or something like that. Little blue chair, Smurf chair, and sitting room. And he went to work, and he came home, and he wanted to make sure that my mom was good. That my mom, and now, in that circumstance, my mom worked when she wanted to work. My mom was able to. He did provide. But when we went on family vacation, my dad didn't go. If we went to Disney World, my dad didn't go. If family functions per se, my dad didn't go. And so, but he was a provider, and he said that he wished that he would have understood the importance of being a provider. It's not just about the money piece. Like me, now my wife make more money than me, and that's cool. Whatever. I got a good job. She just so happened, she got some degrees and she made more money than me. But I know that I cook, I clean, I wash clothes, I do grocery shopping. I do a lot of things, and she don't necessarily have to do them, because most of the time when she come home, they done, because I work from home. And so there's a balance in there, and when why you look at me like that? You're like, am I lying?
I felt it. I didn't see it, but I felt it.
No, we got a spy in the room, y'all. She looking at me, boy. If y'all can see her face, bro, like I'm telling. No, it ain't going nowhere. But I can't just, to her, I still need you to do X, Y, Z. I still need you to be emotionally available. I still need you to be intimate. I still need you to, it's not just always about the money. And we as men, sometimes we look at that. I know some brothers right now that marriage is on the teeter because, they're tied into the gender role thing. Yeah. And, they feel like, well, I make the money, so X, Y, Z. But this is just me. Marriage to me is a partnership. Yeah. You're not my property. I'm not your daddy. You got an opinion and I got an opinion. And then we can meet in the middle with that. Now there's certain things that, I feel strongly about, but we equal. Now, my wife told me when we first got married, I'm gonna follow your lead. And so now, if we honest, that's tongue in cheek.
I'm gonna let you get right back to what you were saying, but
ahead,
right when you said follow your lead, I just remember vividly when I got married, I was like, you can't really follow me because I don't know where I'm going. But go ahead, bro. I didn't really have a lead to follow. I was just providing. That's all I had, and I could sing too, so that's all I had.
But we have to be more than here go the money, and this is how it's gonna be, and lay down to law. It's okay to change the baby diaper. It's okay to if when the baby wake up at the middle of the night, well, both of us got to go to work. So that means that we need to have some type of routine, some type of plan. We need to have some type of something that says, okay, this is your night, because because you're the woman, that doesn't mean. And again, this is being a provider does not always, it's just not about the money. And we live in a society now that it's women have good jobs, women are in the workplace. That's long gone. Of like I said, unless you just have a good job. And so we can't expect the women to be the soccer moms and clean up long are the days the house clean, the clothes folded up, the food on the table, having it ready when you walk in the door. Now y'all can't eat yet because your dad ain't got home yet. You say that you pour something like that, boy, you might get in trouble today. You might get canceled. You say some foods like that today. Yeah. But it's very important. I want to encourage all of our married men to share the load. If you need some decompression time, she needs some decompression time. Absolutely. She's stressed out just like you stressed out. She got to deal with the kids 9 times out of 10. Most times the women, they deal with the kids more than us. Now, sometime. Now, I'm family oriented. I'm a different breed. I call myself, I'm very domesticated. So, I'm the one. I like doing stuff with the kids. I like going to the movies. I like doing the family night stuff. So that's me. I'm gonna cook dinner. I like to cook. I enjoy cook. I probably cook better than most women.
Hey.
And so
Sunday dinner coming soon.
And so but we have to not always be so caught up in, because I feel like sometimes we want to be the man when it's convenient. Yeah. We pull that I'm the man card when it's convenient for us. Now, don't get me wrong, fellas. I'm covering all these avenues because each one are important to manhood. Yeah. They're not separate things that one man deals with versus another man. We all deal with these things at one time or another. Now, some of us may have mastered them, some of us may be past certain things, but we all struggle with these things. And so we have to be able to be balanced as the provider, and it's okay to do so.
I'm gonna just pull back and pick up. My dad, he was a great provider financially, but emotionally, nah. He wasn't really monogamous, if that's the right word. He loved women, and growing up, I picked up a lot of those attributes, which kind of changed the way that I am now, because I'm more domesticated, like you said. Like, I love my family. So with my dad, he didn't give us a lot of that.
Right.
But at the same time, as you started speaking, like, I started seeing balance. I was seeing adjustments, and you even spoke about like wearing many hats and knowing which hat to wear. So going into my marriage, I hadn't had any children yet, so it was like I can't tell nobody how to be a daddy. I just been boyfriend for a couple of, for some years, And then newlyweds, like being a husband. You know, I didn't know how to be a husband either. So, as you said earlier, you know, we have been, I guess, brought up thinking that women cook, women clean, daddy get the big piece of chicken and a beer when he get off work, and we just come home, you know, and just do what we want to do, right? So I thought it would possibly be the best opportunity for me to try that. It didn't work for us, you know. I was, for the most part, raised by my mom, so things that women do naturally, I enjoyed to do. Now, not like that, you know. But, you know, cooking, cleaning, like, I enjoyed doing things like that. My wife, she had a good set of parents and a good set of step-parents. She's way more balanced than I am. And it showed. And there was a lot of things that she was able to learn because she was very close to her father. So with me being close to my mom and my wife being close to her father, we bumped heads just a little bit in the beginning. You know, I would come home and I'd be like, what you take the trash out for? You know, I already did it. I ain't had time to wait, you know. And, you know, so we had those things, like, and even with me knowing, like, in the beginning that I'm not going to say I'm the better cook, but I cook more often. I'm the better cook. I clean more often. You know, knowing those things, I still tried to force that old law to where, hey, why my food ain't ready? And it was like, I had to sit there. I was like, man, this doesn't work for us. It's okay for her to, you know, take out the trash sometimes. Maybe not the trash. Cook. She can cook. So I had to find that balance, you know, and just to, I hope I'm not going too off topic, but even as like a father, like, I had to learn, like, from my wife and my oldest daughter and just life in general. I didn't know how to be a father, and I'm still learning how to be a father. When I first met my wife, my daughter was already 9 years old. So I didn't get that chance to, you know, see her, because she, like my wife, they come from a family of strong, brilliant, wise, strong-willed women. All of them. All of them. And my oldest daughter, Zion, she's very intelligent, very strong-willed. And at that point, I believe that she felt she had a certain sense of power in the relationship, which as a child, you don't really have power, but you are a part of it, right? So coming in, I knew that there were things that we did in our household that she hadn't experienced it yet. She didn't have responsibilities. She didn't know how to wash the dishes. She didn't know how to clean the room. So immediately, without me having the background or the knowledge of how to be a father, we clashed a lot. And a lot of things that I handled wrong, I was able to learn based on my relationship with my daughter. So with her, I remember the first time that I had to discipline her, it was my fault. Like, I told her 2 weeks later, you know, but it was she got a whooping because of me, you know. And so the situation, I'm gonna be real quick. So we asking her to wash the dishes. Instead of just saying she didn't know how to wash the dishes, she just got frustrated. 9 years old, I understand. You ain't my daddy. She didn't say that, but you know, I know what you're feeling or what I think you're feeling. So I'm asking her to wash the dishes. She's crying. She's upset. She's frustrated. And I just hear dishes slamming in the sink. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you about to get it, you know. And in our household, probably a lot of your households as well, our parents say this thing, oh, you asking for it. You know, so about the third time I had to get on her about it, I'm like, oh, you asking for it. So she looks at me and she's like, what am I asking for? You know, so she has no idea. It's just a figure of speech, you know. But I'm like, oh, she's sassing me, you know. But couple of weeks down the line, you know, I was able to analyze the situation, you know, and what I needed to be for her at that point. It wasn't that I didn't want to be that. I didn't know how. All I know is you think that this your mama and it's not my wife. I know it's your mama and my wife, and I feel challenged. So I can only revert to what I know. When my daddy felt challenged, you getting the whooping. Right. So that's all I know. So I couldn't be the I guess, an efficient disciplinary to her at that point, because we didn't. My dad didn't talk it out with me. You did wrong or you did right, and that was based solely on what he felt, not what you actually did wrong or did right. If I felt you did wrong, this is the conversation you getting, or this is the smack you getting, you know. So I wasn't really fit to be a parent in the beginning, and it's something that I had to gradually learn. So like putting on those different hats, I had one hat, and it was like, it wasn't even a snapback, it was a fitted cap. That's the only hat that I had. You know what I mean? I couldn't change the levels on it. You know, I could probably wear it backwards, but that was really all that I could do. I didn't really know how to adjust, and I'm thankful that I have the type of daughter and wife that I have, because they still put up with me. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And that, I'm gonna skip one of the points here, but one of the other points that we were going to kind of hit was the difficulties of trying to balance being an effective father and a husband, and that kind of segues into what you were kind of already talking about, because a lot of times, if you know, when you just look at the root of it, women, they talk to each other. They seek a resolution for what go on. You know, they talk to their mama, their auntie, their granny, sister so and so at the church, mother so and so at the church. They seek some type of answer or clarity to whatever, no matter what it be. You know, they talk about it, but we don't. You know, if we do talk about our kids, we talk about the way we handled it. If we do talk about our spouses, we talk about them nagging, not necessarily, you know, seeking a solution or a better way to handle it. We don't have that type of conversation, and sometimes we are our own worst enemy in our households, because we won't talk, we won't ask, and I'm 100%. This is, you know, for me to do the thing with the men it's outside of my comfort zone. I'm an introvert, you know, like I'm the guy that, like, being home on a Friday night watching Netflix, that's fun for me. You know, I cook me some shrimp and some fish and some grits. You know, or I'll fry me some wing. You know, I'll cook whatever I feel like eating, and I watch a movie, and I'm content. Or I'll do something with my kids. But so I'm an introvert by nature, and so talking is cathartic for me, because it helps me get outside of my own self. And it's even in these conversations, it's helpful to be able to say, man, this is what I'm dealing with. Oh, that's what you're dealing with too? Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. You know, you dealing with the same thing. And in reality, I think sometimes as men, we compartmentalize our issues to us. That you're the only guy that's dealing with that. You're the only. We look at it as it's embarrassing if we are. If something going on in the household, we don't want to talk about it. And I had an older elder at another church I was going to, and he said, don't call me when you need the bail money. Don't call me after you need the bail money. He say, talk to me all the way up to why you finna go commit the crime. So that way I can help you get through it before you get to that point. Because I may not be able to bail you out, but I may be able to stop you from needing bail. And that always stuck with me. And he would always say that to the men at the church. Because we wait until it's an emergency to talk. We wait until, all hell done broke loose. We wait until our wife, she been saying I'm finna leave for the last 2 years. And then we wait till she done got the Uber outs. To the left. she's saying it to the left, and then now we want to, oh, please, let's go to counseling now. But when all we had to do was do the work in between, or seek help in between, or ask questions in between. And so, I've kind of made it even my priority, over the last month or so, to talk to the guys and reach out and have conversations, to be a little more interpersonal, just because I know how I see things. I know how I think, and most men, we think like that. Even when you go to the barbershop, most of the conversations that you have at the barbershop, they're tough conversations. Yeah. They're either sports or politics, and it's never really, I was struggling because you don't want to be that guy because you don't want to look weak.
You don't want to look vulnerable.
And vulnerable. And it's, if I can't convey anything else, especially in this season, man, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be weak sometime. It's okay to need help, to need a hug. And that kind of transitions me into the last topic point, because this was Cam's topic. I don't know if it was you or Cam. The toxic mix. That wasn't me. Okay, I think that was Cam. And so it was being open with each other as black men and dealing with toxic masculinity. And this is one of those culture type topics, because we really, and we kind of hit on it to a certain extent in earlier on. But what is toxic masculinity? Like, what is it? And the definition of it involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way, and it's likely this is likely to affect all boys and men in some fashion. Cultural pressure for men to behave in a certain way. And now I'm gonna try to keep this as PG, as clean, as possible. But I always give this this scenario where if you go back and you look at, like, I have girls and I have boys. I have sons. I have two sons and 3 girls. And when Tyler was little, him and Sydney were around the same age, and they played with toys. They would play, and they would have G.I. Joe, and they would have dolls, and they played. And if my ex-wife will be like, boy, if your daddy see you playing with that doll, he gonna kill you, And I know there's a delicate balance in that, and I understand why. But if you look at little girls are generally taught from an early age to be women, from everything that they do. If the little girl sits, she 2 years old, she got a diaper on, the diaper bigger than the little skirt that she got on, but we'll still tell her to put her legs down and close her legs. Sit like a lady. We're teaching her. The toys that you buy, every little girl get a dollhouse, every little girl get a kitchen. So we're teaching them how to be domesticated. We're teaching them this is your role. Mother, when Riley be in the room talking to her 18 dolls, she the mama, and then somebody else, one of them other dolls, is the daddy. You know what I'm saying?
It's supposed to be one.
But she played. When she played with when she actually playing with her cousins, her little bestie, Skylar, they, you the mama, I'm just the mama, and this, they play in that role. As we raise them up to, you got to be a lady, got to sit like a lady, got to talk like a lady, got to act like a lady. But then on the reverse side of that, when we deal with our little boys, we don't necessarily teach them about what a man is. We teach them what we think, what culture says they are, right? And when I say that, I mean we tell them to be tough. We tell them to suck it up. We will applaud our sons for getting a notch on their belt, if you know what I mean. And we will admonish our daughters in the same vein. We will tell our boys, oh, you can go ahead and date, but we hold our girls hostage in the same vein. We tell our boys to be rough, tough, and emotionless. If we tell them to go play football, you know, I remember this distinctively. Man, we was playing it, we called it the dirt field. So where we lived at, the subdivision behind us they just cleared it, but they hadn't started building houses. And it was like about 3-4 years, it was just dirt, and it was like dirt field. We called it the dirt field. So we would go and play football, we would go play baseball, you know, because it was just dirt. And so all the kids from all other neighborhoods would come, and we would, you know, play all the sports. And man, I remember our pitching, we were playing softball, and they kept telling me, LeRon, back up. I was like, nah, and I pitched it, and the dude hit the ball, and it hit me right in my, like I was seeing stars. And they took me home, and my mama was like, boy, you better go back outside and play. I was like, man, I can't see. My eyes swole shut. You know what I'm saying? But that's how because we want our boys to be, and then if I remember I would tell my son, and when he would whine or tattle, nobody wanted, he would stop acting like a little girl. Yeah. You know, you a boy, you be a man, suck it up. Yeah. And the dangers to that is, and it's innocent. You know, it's really, it's not you're not being a bad parent. This is just how we do things. But we don't realize that when Johnny Jr. turned 19 and he get that first girlfriend, he don't really know how to be emotionally available. The black church, you know, I always say this, we do a disservice to in the past, we tell them to get married. We teach, it's better to marry than to burn, but then we don't tell them how to be married. We don't have them how to stay married. And that's a danger, because a lot of times women, sometimes they're ready for relationships because they're cultivated in a lot of ways. Now, they may not be perfect, but a lot of times they're ready for the commitment. They may not be ready for all that comes with it, but they're generally ready, and we aren't. Like, we be ready to hit the road, you know, as soon as some smoke come. All right, I'm out, I'm deuces. Or we looking for greener pastures. And a lot of that has to do with, there's an old commercial. It was like one of those Sally Struthers commercials or something. And at the end of the commercial, it says, it's talking about mentoring boys. And at the end of the commercial, it will say, it's better to mentor boys than to have to mend men. And that commercial always, and it's a funny commercial, you know, because it's one of them weird little, not infomercials, but it is, because it's like 5-minute commercial and they be talking. But it's what it's saying is, it's better for us to impart in our boys, impart in our young men, teach them how to be boys and teach them how to be men, teach them how to talk, teach them what it is to deal with their emotions and their frustrations. Because you know what? If we don't, while we're battling with what to teach our boys, the world is telling them who they are. Society is telling them, no, you ain't got to be a boy. You can be non-binary. You don't have to be he, you can be the. You don't have to identify, you can be neutral if you want. And so we have to teach us, and this is not even a color thing, just a man thing. Like God, the Bible says God created man in his image. And we have to get back to the root of who God created us to be and make sure that our young boys are not being indoctrinated because we're not willing to be vulnerable. We're not willing to tell on ourselves. When we get to a certain stage in life, we will pretend that we got it all figured out, that we got it all together, that we know best, and not realizing, an old preacher used to say, we all are ex something. And that means that, everybody got a past, but everybody don't like to talk about their past. Everybody don't like to, and sometimes the best testimony is the best way to help somebody through, because I really genuinely believe this in my heart, that sometimes God will allow us to experience and go through things because the weight of it won't kill me, but it may kill somebody else. And so my testimony, my experience where I've been, being able to say, hey man, I've been there, you ain't got to go down that road, because that road, it didn't kill me, but it may kill you. What's waiting for you on the end of that road, you think you may be ready for, but you may not be ready for. And so we have to, if nothing else is gained from tonight, I want to encourage our brothers, man, it's okay to be vulnerable, man. It's okay when the next time you text your homeboy, or next time your homeboy texts you and he say, hey man, how you doing? Be honest. Be honest. Tell them the truth. If it ain't okay, man, nah, man. And then ask them, hey man, if they say nah, then say, hey man, what's going on? Let's talk. Be willing to listen. And you know what? Don't always look for the answer. Don't pretend like you got the answer. Sometimes a brother just need to listen.
I'm quick. I don't know, bro. Hey, and like when you said, reach out to your brothers, ask, like, I know a lot of people when it comes to like just dialogue and talking, you'll be like, hey, what's going on? And usually they just mean like, you'll say I'm good, or right. That's the end of it. I intentionally, I don't ask people what's going on unless I really care about what's going on. Like if you hit me like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? Right. But if I say what's going on, how you doing? Like I really want to know. So like right. You said, when I text you the other day, I was like, hey man, you want to share with me? And you shared, and I was like, well, let me be intentional about the conversation, because right. Now I asked him a question, he right. responded. Right. But even with that, that's a way that you can determine like who you can have that type of relationship with. Because if you're like, hey man, what's going on? And like, oh man, I got hit by a car. All right, then I'll holler at you, bro. Like you know who you can talk to. And just to go back to the whole masculinity thing, my dad, he was very loving to a certain extent. He had a big heart, but I had to force my dad to show me the affection that right. I wanted. Right. I'm not crying, y'all. I got a dry throat. I'm not crying, y'all. Y'all know when I'm crying. Like, I'm a crybaby. But no. So anything that allowed me to show affection towards my dad, I'm not saying this term in a disrespectful way, but he was like, oh, that's gay. You know what I mean? I try to hug him. I get off me. Look, that's gay. And I try to, it's gay. Like he would. But I forced him. I was like, nah, bro, you ain't been here. I don't know how much time. I don't know. I'm 15 years old. Hey, you watching TV? I'm watching TV with you. You know what I mean? And growing up, it was just like I didn't even know what gay meant. Kind of like when you were saying, you have the son and the daughter, they playing with different toys. Like it's easy for a man to be like, hey, men don't do that. But it's like you're not telling them what men do. So like you said, you have the world and other outside influences that get to choose what they want your son or your daughter to allow in their lives and say, this is what it is. Let me set that standard for you, because, yes, your dad knows that this is not something that you're supposed to be doing. However, did he teach you? So when someone presents certain things in that way, it's like you build trust and you can kind of be swayed, so. But yeah, that's definitely something that I've experienced. Even like just the way I kind of punked my daddy into loving me. I was like that with my friends. Like maybe another setting I'll tell you about my life. I'm a thug. I'm not. Whatever. But no, I've done some stuff. You know what I mean? I've done some crazy things. However, me and my close friends telling you I love you, it's not a difficult thing to do. Checking on you to see how you're doing, making sure your mental is okay. It's not a difficult thing to do, because for one, I'm very comfortable with my masculinity. and my sexuality. This is not that conversation, but we're all people, you know. Regardless to what you like, hey, you can like that, but I can love you as a brother. I shouldn't feel like, oh, he probably funny style, because no, bro. If he cares for you, not if he got feelings for you, but if he cares for you, if something happened to you and he would be concerned, I don't see a problem with you saying, hey, I love you, or you don't feel comfortable saying I love you, like, yeah, you too, bro. Like, it's okay, you know what I mean? But I haven't really had, as far as myself expressing that, because I've always been intact with that part of myself being raised by my mom, and I know boundaries is like, I probably shouldn't tell him that, but you just have to know those boundaries. You have to set that standard for the relationship and just be comfortable with saying, hey, man, I care about you,
100% truth. We went over time a little bit. If you have any questions, drop them in, because we're going to go ahead and close out. We'll make sure. I can't look at the thing and answer questions and talk at the same time, so I have to let y'all, But before I close out, I do want to encourage every brother, every man out there that's watching, even though it looks like everything is falling apart, even though it looks like tomorrow is not going to come, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're struggling with, whatever your issue is, I'm here to tell you tonight that God has you covered. It doesn't matter what we endure, whether it was the fishermen on the boat and the storm was raging and they were afraid, but guess what? Jesus was in the boat with them. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, God could have prevented them from going into the fiery furnace altogether, but he didn't. He went in with them. And when you read the scripture, it's kind of amazing because they didn't even smell like smoke when they came out. That's how good God is. He will put you in the fire. He will put you in the impossible fire. And when you come out of it, you won't even look like what you've been through. You won't even smell like what they didn't. It says that not even a singe of their clothes, not even a piece of their clothes were singed or smelled like smoke. And so I encourage you today to give it to God. And the Bible says, cast your cares on him because he will care for you. That's one of my favorite scriptures, because I'm a firm believer that if God don't fix it, it won't be fixed. If God don't change it, it won't be changed. And no matter what it looks like, he is still in control. And I speak favor and I speak blessings and prosperity. I speak healing where healing is needed in your household. Every marriage, I speak unity in the home. Every man, I speak healing for whatever childhood hurts, father hurts, mother hurts, whatever happened, I cancel it right now in the name of Jesus, and I declare the victory over you and your family. We thank you for joining us. We'll be here next time. Next month, may do something a little different. We may bring all the fellas back, but we thank you for joining us tonight, and you keep living life victoriously.